That's me started. Greg, do you want to just dive in here, mate? And,
just give me a minute, Richard. I'm just making an.
Well, we can crack on even with the SED stuff because this is recording now. Could you do me a favour, David? Can you look in that iPhone and see if it's actually if the angle's right to get both of us in? Both heads in?
Yep.
Is that okay? We're both in there, yeah. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. We'll just start in 3. I'm here with Greg Smith from the South East Division. Greg, just tell us a bit about yourself, what the South East Division are, what they do, what are you guys trying to achieve, what are you about?
Yeah, well, really, we're just a group of people who came together, I think, on the first FLA march back in 2017.
That would have been June 2017, right?
Yeah,
the very first one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, just all got together really through a variety, a few football fans actually, really, a lot of West Ham and some Tottenham. But that was an irrelevance really. We came together just because we felt something needed to be done, and we wanted to. Frustration we felt about what had happened and the anger. We thought a good way of manifesting that. So
was this straight after the Borough Market attacks? Was it so?
No. This was It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think we all sort of started at the same time. The veterans started at the same time as well. So
it's all become a blur.
It has been a lot going on since then.
It was awful. It was a terrible time and frustrated. Didn't know where to turn. So we got together and said, let's do this. Let's see what happens. And from that we said, well, this was all right in itself, but perhaps we can do some more. So we organised as a group and said, okay, what else can we do? There was some veterans stuff. So 5 of us come up to Newcastle.
Yeah. And
we came to that, and then we started to just get more involved. And we're there as we describe ourselves as foot soldiers, really.
Yeah.
You know, we're not in as much as we're there to help to show people that there is some mileage and opportunity to go and have your voice heard, that there is an outlet, that there are people who care about the country, who care about democracy, who care about freedom of speech, who care about sovereignty, who care about this nation. And so rather than simply be frustrated and sit on Facebook and Twitter and all of that and putting stuff out, we thought, well, no, let's actually get out there and show people who might be maybe think that there's no point in this, that, well, if these guys can do it, they're just ordinary guys. We're just ordinary people. I'm retired, got builders, painters and decorators, just ordinary people, you know, running businesses. And a complete cross-section of people as well, you know, black guys, Sikhs.
Were any of your guys politically involved before this? Were any of them, involved in street movements, or are they all pretty?
No. I mean, they've probably gone on a few marches in the past, perhaps. I don't know. We've not really delved too much into what people were. It's where you are now that's important to us. But no, I mean, generally we were football people.
So it's like us. I mean, the veterans are the same. 30 years. I left the army in 1992. Just lived a normal life, normal job, normal family. Didn't get involved in anything. Obviously voted and all that sort of stuff. Was interested in politics, but it was like there was a breaking point in 2017. It was like something broke when those kids were murdered in Ariana Grande. When PC Keith Palmer was literally slaughtered in his the grounds of Westminster, and then Borough Market, and women had their throats cut by these jihadists. It was, to me, it was a total. It was. I couldn't stay silent. I couldn't sit there. Were you guys the same?
Exactly. Yeah. We just thought enough's enough, because you say things about what's happening. The terrible scenes that you saw with soldiers coming back and being spat on and poppies burnt and all that kind of stuff. Now I'll declare I come from a service family, so I'm not sure it means more to me. I wouldn't insult anyone by saying that. But that's a visceral thing to me, because I know what my father, grandfather, great grandfather had done for the country, and to see people doing that was an awful thing to witness. So that kind of made me a bit angry, and I thought, well, I'm not going to have this. But an opportunity to actually go out on the street and do something about it felt like the right thing to do, because I've written letters to MPs. and that's done sort of. You get, if you're lucky, you get a reply that says, "Oh, I'm very sorry about this. I'll take this on board and try and do something." Nothing happens. So we felt that the only thing we could do was get people out. So we turn up, 30, 40 of us. We make a noise. We follow whatever the particular movement is, and we do our thing. We turn up where we're supposed to turn up, and we're there to ensure that there are numbers and that we're seen.
Yeah. What about the way the I suppose particularly what we call the far left, the Socialist Workers' Party type people, the so-called stand-up to racism. What do you feel about the way they speak about? I mean, you're a working class guy. I'm a working class guy. We're not Nazis. What do you feel about when they're shouting at you, Nazi scum off our street? Okay.
I've been named as a racist.
Yeah.
I've been named as a. I mean, I've been in the paper several weeks simply for going to a legitimate march with the footballers.
So you've been named as in the press?
I mean, in the press, yeah.
Which newspaper?
Independent, The Guardian, and the Daily Telegraph.
The Daily Telegraph as well?
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Daily Mail, yeah.
Yeah. And you actually specific
my name, yeah, simply because of saying, well, this isn't a prescribed movement.
Yeah.
We have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I'm here to uphold freedom of speech because,
Which demo was that?
It was the one where we were. I can't. Apologies, I can't say. I can't.
It was one of the freedom. What was
one
of
the freedom
of speech?
One about freedom of speech.
So basically now, what? So this is mainstream media, newspapers, Guardian, Independent Telegraph, calling people racists for standing up for freedom of speech.
Standing up for freedom of speech.
I mean, to me, that is
beggars belief. Honestly,
that means we've got a serious problem in the country.
Of course we do. Of course we do.
And I think that. A lot of people are backing off now. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, look, this isn't working. We've had our social media accounts closed down. We can't communicate with people." I think, personally, my opinion is now's the time to ramp things up.
We've got to do it
and be more active.
We've got to do more. I mean, some will possibly know that some of us go to Speaker's Corner on a fairly regular basis. We go there really to listen to what people have to say, because I still believe in freedom of speech. And the idea, if you exchange ideas and understand someone else's point of view, and you put your point of view across, then maybe you can start to crystallise thoughts and say, well, actually, this way isn't right. This might be, that guy's made a good point, or that woman's made a good point. Understand? But so you can't suppress that. Even if what people are saying sounds a bit, that's off, still got to let them do it. So if jihadis want to talk about war and stuff, let them. There are consequences to it. If we want to talk about why we feel that what they want to do is wrong for the country, wrong anyway, we should be able to do that and have a discussion about it. What we're seeing in the Speaker's Corner is, I can only say the state allows some of the more radical Islamic views to be expressed. And yet, we're there having to defend our Sikh and Christian and secular
and Jewish
against that. So,
tell us about what happened last October when basically the extremist, radical, jihadi Muslims at Speaker's Corner had been bullying. I think it was, Raj Singh had been getting a hard time. Yeah. I think Steve, some of the Christians, some of the Jewish people. Yeah, so you basically had Sikhs, Christians, and Jews all getting bullied by a mob, and that's what they were. They were a mob of thugs professing the Islamic religion, and obviously, so it was almost spontaneous. Some lads got together from all different groups, and just went down.
Just went down. Yeah, it wasn't organised. It just happened to be
a day that we were all in town.
And we were there, and we, not in a violent way. We just made a stand. We actually drew that was our line in the sand. Enough is enough. We're not going to allow you to do this and bully people. Freedom of speech means freedom of speech. Doesn't mean being mobbed and shouted down. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what we did.
Yeah. And again, it was it was a great line in the sand, and it basically let people know that if there's serious bullying going on at Speaker's Corner, that, you know, even if we're small in numbers, we'll go down there and we'll take a stand, and we'll do it peacefully, and
it's always
been peaceful.
As we said before, which is always, you know, we take the Gandhi, Martin Luther King line of non-violent
protest
against that, because.
And where do you see this all going, Greg? I mean, what's your, you know, are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic?
I'm always optimistic about the strength and backbone of the British people in a crisis. You know, my mum and my sister, God rest their souls, lived through the Blitz. So, you know, if they could do that, and then my brother and that lived through rationing.
Yeah.
So if they could make that sacrifice, I'm prepared, as are my fellow friends in SED, to make the same kind of sacrifices for the freedom and sovereignty of the country. So I'm optimistic. I've always been optimistic about the British people.
There's no point in doing it if you're not optimistic.
No.
You know, if we don't think we can achieve anything, there's no point in it. And I'm exactly the same, Greg. I think we can achieve what we need to do, which is basically all we want is to have Britain being a stable, peaceful country where everybody lives together in peace.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about your daughter or granddaughter going to a pop concert and getting incinerated or vaporized by a maniac who strapped explosives to himself. That has to, you know, and that the reality is that those problems haven't gone away. They've been quiet because, let's give credit where credit's due, the security service has done a great job of keeping on top of them. They've closed them down, they've stopped them operating, and it seems all these guys can do is now grab a knife in a van and do stuff that way. Let's hope it stays like that. But the reality is we need to get at the ideology behind that is not allowing, but is facilitating and encouraging people to behave like that. And the fact that we can't speak about that is, you know, I think freedom of speech is the key in all this. If we lose our freedom of speech and we continue to be closed down on social media and in the mainstream media and slandered for just literally saying it is wrong to follow an ideology that tells you it's okay to murder people in the name of that ideology, that's what we're saying.
It beggars belief that that we can't have adult discussions around these things, and we can't exchange ideas.
Yeah.
And it appears that only one kind of narrative is being allowed to take place.
I think the government is what the government is doing is building a pressure cooker, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I believe if they don't change course, sooner or later that pressure cooker will explode, and there'll be consequences that they will not be able to put back together. That's what I feel, and again we always.
Well, we hope to God that doesn't happen, and people actually see sense,
and we can get a good political route.
Yes, you know. All anyone wants is to live in peace with their neighbours. You know, people can pray to or not as they wish, providing they don't force someone else to do something they don't want to do. You know, I'm comfortable. I'm happy. Sovereignty, freedom, equality, democracy. That's all I'm interested in.
Exactly. Greg, thanks very much.
Well, pleasure.
Stop.
Don't move. Just sit down. No, it's okay.